All right, week 4 college football breakdown here. They're another Thursday night game, little Sun Belt, Fun Belt action. Coastal Carolina, one of my favorite teams to watch in the country, traveling to Atlanta to take on Georgia State. Georgia State might be 0-3, but this line is paying a ton of respect to them. Coastal Carolina on the road is only a 2.5-point favorite. The total has come down a little bit, but still pretty high at 62.5. I'm going to tell you something. I think most college football fans know Coastal Carolina is good. So this line should be pretty suspect. Going up against an 0-3 team, I know they're on the road, but I'm sure a lot of people who model games and all that. This number is probably way off, but there's probably a reason why it's way off. I know Georgia State's 0-3, but I don't really think that tells the full story. I mean, they hung with South Carolina pretty competitively through 3 quarters. They led that game in the second half. They came back home the next week and only lost by 1 possession against North Carolina. Now, it's pretty inexcusable what happened this past weekend. Lost in a shootout to Charlotte, who is really not a good football team. I mean, they allowed 400 yards through the air. That just can't happen. There's no defense to that. But when you see things like this, it's telling you a story. If you think you've cracked the code by betting Coastal Carolina here, and I'm not saying they won't cover, but I'm just saying this seems to be somewhat of a trap. On the road against an 0-3 team, you're only laying 2.5. Seems a little fishy to me. The one thing I like about this Georgia State team, or that I thought I liked coming into last week, I like the way they can run the football. Showed they could establish the run in both of those Power 5 matchups earlier this season. I think they're pretty good in the trenches. Obviously their secondary got torched, and so that does give me pause because the one thing about Coastal Carolina, and I bet Coastal Carolina week 1 when they played Army, it was just an incredibly short line. I mean, this is truly one of the most efficient offenses in the country. I mean, Grayson McCall throughout his career, 11 yards per attempt, 72% completion. They don't throw it a lot because it's not a triple option offense. Clearly, but it is kind of that same idea where they do really poke at you on the ground and then they consistently hit chunk plays down the field. So this is a really good offense. It's really kind of a cheat code because, I mean, they bring back multiple running backs this year who were over 7 yards a carry last year. McCall is obviously over 12 yards per attempt. This offense seems to be a little bit of a cheat code. The one thing I worry about with Coastal Carolina, though, is their defense, because I do think Georgia State can run on them. I mean, this Coastal team lost a lot at that linebacker position. Teams have been able to establish a run here on this Coastal Carolina defense. And by my efficiency metrics, they're 98th in the country. So I don't really want to be giving them the benefit of the doubt. If you do like Coastal here, you might just want to isolate their team total. I've done that in the past. Now, they do run very slow. They're efficient, but they do run at a very slow pace. So being on the road, does give me pause. I'm not going to be on it personally, but wouldn't be surprised if that comes through. This Chanticleer's offense is clearly the best unit on the field. I'm not going to have a play on this game. I do just want to say once again, though, when you see a situation like this, a team that everybody knows is good, traveling to play a winless Georgia State team, and they're only 2.5-point favorites on the road, it tells you a major story. This Georgia State team is better than a lot of people think. I bet on them in that North Carolina game because I think they are good in the trenches. And, their quarterback Granger has been pretty inconsistent this year. I could see a scenario where this Chanticleer's defense really doesn't step up well in this matchup. So I'm not going to play it. This does feel like somewhat of a trap for Coastal Carolina. So just stay aware of that. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe, and comment your game prediction and how you see this game unfolding down below. I'll have the rest of my week 4 video breakdowns out by Thursday night. So be sure to continually check back in with the channel and make sure you're subscribed. Appreciate y'all watching. College football is back, and it's better than ever.